Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon here with another episode of The Bad Batch. This is episode number 4. And unlike what I originally had thought, where we might alternate between the main group and Crosshair each episode, doesn't seem like that's going to be the way. This seems to be like a, well, at the very least, it's going to be featuring the main group. So, you know, that was kind of my original thinking around how the start of the series might work, and that would have been cool to see like a back and forth, real time, you know, kind of catch up with each character. But not to worry, I'm sure the Crosshair will be on our screens again before long. The only reason that I really, you know, Crosshair himself is an interesting character, though at the moment, you know, he is fairly one-dimensional. They are trying to work in some more, you know, elements of doubt into his character. You know, the end of last season, we kind of got firmly told that he's not doing this because of, you know, any kind of inhibitor chip, or, you know, he's not being forced to do this. He has a genuine belief that, you know, as a soldier, he needs to follow orders, and that, you know, the Empire is the, you know, the ultimate power in the galaxy. You know, very emotionless. There's Zuko opening the door as he does. And not very, you know, caring for the situation of those who are being oppressed, as was evidenced in the last episode we saw him in, whereby he, you know, executed the governor without any kind of hesitation, and caused Cody to either go AWOL or, you know, killed himself on the side. Last episode was fun. I mean, again, a couple of people moaned that it was filler. It wasn't. There's no real such thing as filler in this show, because everything has a purpose. Plus, this is 18 episodes long each season. You can't have 18 episodes of complete action-packed, story-driven, you know, madness. It has to slow down at some point to, you know, give us a chance to breathe and to explore some other elements of the story. You know, whilst a lot of people might have seen it as a detour and an unnecessary kind of, oh, it was just a race and just a way of distracting us, you know, it hinted into Sid's past a little bit. You know, clearly the rival that she was facing had a history with her. She'd turned her back on him at some point, and the warning he gave to the Bad Batch might well come to fruition later in the season. We might well see Sid turn on the group, and then they can't say they weren't warned, you know, because they were warned. So, you know, everything has its purpose in this. And, you know, again, it's about expanding the universe. You know, we now know that Riot Racing exists. And it'd be a pretty cool game, you know? It's a good basis for a game. If this show was like... If Riot Racing was in The Mandalorian, you'd probably see a lot more people calling for it to be a video game. But because it's The Bad Batch and not everyone really watches it or appreciates it, it's probably going to go mostly under the radar. So, you know. But we're on the next leg of the journey, so we will see where we go next. So, yeah, let's jump in and let's watch the next episode. See, one of the things I've noticed of the animation that they've really improved on is the focused perspective. Like, the background is out of focus and the characters in the foreground are in focus. That very much wasn't the case in the old animation, because it was all rendered the same. And it gives it much more of a realistic cinematic feel.
I had no choice but to fend off the Octomorph. Bear.
The Octomorph?
This story changes every
Is he related to the Xenomorph? Are we getting a crossover?
And do you know what I found?
What'd you find? What was there? Spit it out!
Only the grand.
Oh, I forgot that's Sam Riegel. She's gonna find a use. That's a comm unit, isn't it?
Take a look at this.
Now that is just a barrel. It's a barrel with a flashlight.
I was right. You heard Faye?
She says a lot of things.
See, one thing I've noticed as well, again, the mixing of the sound, the voices are a little bit
We go together.
too muted against the music.
What if there really is treasure there?
Want to hear about the time I found the blade of Sakai?
I like the gold mixed into her hair.
I do.
It's an exciting.
He's got, I don't know if it's
So
like
strap in.
gold bands or something, but they seem to be wrapped around the dreads. I love that even the ancient technology in Star Wars is still like miles ahead of anything that we've got. They're all electrical and,
It's telling us
you know,
go
spacefaring.
Let's go!
No way that barrel is going to keep up.
Maybe we go around the mountain?
What's the Elvish word
Telling
for
us to go
friend?
inside.
Oh, it is a secret entrance.
My brain thinks Jedi Temple, my heart is hoping for something different.
The heart of the mountain. And we're going
Oh,
to
no.
liberate it.
It is, it's the Hobbit. I knew I was right. Don't go in there, you're going to wake up Smaug, and then the people of Lake Town are going to suffer.
Booby traps. Now it's getting interesting.
You
So-
just trapped us in here.
It's Indiana Jones meets the Hobbit.
We just have to find it.
Very dramatic music.
A rare crystalline stone. Some say it's the key to
Uh-huh.
ancient power,
Uh-huh.
which makes it worth more than
I've
you could
seen this
possibly
before.
fathom.
Dragon sickness.
Ah,
It's either going to melt Nazis or it's going to wake a dragon. Either way, it's not good. It's not good. Right now I'm thinking dragon. Oh, you know what? I'm amazed as well at how many animals are impervious or very resistant to blaster bolts in Star Wars. Like, the Empire should have made their armor out of animal hide, because that probably would have protected their stormtroopers a lot better.
There are more markings.
wait!
Uh-oh. He's a lucky boy.
3 times already.
This reminds me of the time I tracked down the Belmont.
We don't want to hear a story.
Ooh.
See, now once again, Bad Batch has come up with a really good video game premise.
Without it.
Good thing you have me.
Oh dear. She's a little grating on the will. Ooh, that gold?
Fee thinks we're getting close to the treasure.
Also, just realised her name is Fee. Thief.
What type of
Yeah.
puzzle is this?
Ooh.
The heart of the mountain.
The Arkenstone. Oh. That looks like one of the elemental pillars from the Fifth Element. Uh-oh. Lights are on. Get out of there, Barrel! Oh, is it a ship? It's a giant mech.
I suspect this is not, in fact, a treasure vault.
Then what is it?
It's Mechzilla. It's like a mechanical Zillo beast, in a way.
Perhaps we must return.
Yeah,
to
maybe
the
that
vault.
is...
Deactivate it.
Maybe it destroyed, like, an ancient civilization.
It's what we came.
Oh, no.
You deal with that. I'll get the stone.
Oh, she was saved. Shoot the barrel. Yeah. See, he's too slow. for this thing? It's just eating bullets up. Ooh. What? Oh, it melted! And now it's blowing up.
The legend was real.
Now that's the right attitude.
But your droid has been melted.
I have a lead on a certain chalice. Very ancient.
Oh no.
Really?
Is that the one that melts Nazis?
Has it, the chalice once belonged to the kingdom of Elways, lost over a millennia ago.
The Holy Grail. So, the people who were mad that last week's episode was filler are probably going to be mad again this week because it was a very similar kind of episode. It didn't really do much to push the plot forward, but in my opinion, it did give us a bit more insight into some characters. You know, we get to learn a bit more about Fee, and you know the fact that she is clearly a bit of a grifter. You know, she clearly is not as successful as her stories make her out to be, and she's not ashamed to you know, indulge in the truth. It was a cool concept, though. I mean, I like the idea of, you know, the Indiana Jones style episode. You know, a trek through an ancient ruin, mixed in with the Hobbit, because you know you're looking for the heart of the mountain. It awakes a giant beast that's very destructive. Thankfully, there was no one around other than the droid to get smushed. But, you know, come the end of it, it's kind of like, that was a cool mech. I want to know more about who built it, why they built it, and, you know, why did the stone melt second time around? Because I'm assuming that thing, like, either the stone was a kill switch designed to shut it down, or, you know, it was its operating key or something. But if it was an operating key, why was it dormant in the first place? And if it was a kill switch, why did it melt when they put it back in? Many questions about that thing, but it was a really cool looking design. It's just a shame there were no innocent town folk to sort of be smushed and lasered by it. You know, it was just rocks and a barrel. That was it. Yeah, I felt bad for that droid because literally it looks like a can of Coke, you know, with a couple of eye holes. It doesn't have any arms. It moves really slowly. You know, it's like, what chance does that droid have of surviving with a treasure hunter? You know, it really doesn't have much chance. But again, you know, I think this episode, I mean, it definitely won't be one of the more remembered episodes, and it certainly didn't seem to have that spark of fun like last episode did. But it was intriguing in its own right, and you can tell that this was one that the writers enjoyed writing because they probably had always wanted to make some kind of an Indiana Jones type, you know, Star Wars adventure. You know, and that's kind of what this was. But I don't think that this was, you know, the show needed to be longer to fully explore that kind of element to it. You know, sometimes it can feel a little shallow because you only get the very baseline of like traps, and the monster fight, you know, is over very quickly. You know, it's kind of like, okay, I would have liked to have seen more of that, or had it turned into a video game. I mean, can you imagine playing through that kind of thing as a video game? Like a level in a Bad Batch video game? That'd be pretty cool. But I mean, yeah, other than that, cool concept, mildly interesting story, you know, a little bit more on Fee. But overall, you know, it doesn't do too much to move the plot forward. I'd expect people to be a little bit more annoyed by this episode than the last episode, at least. But it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was what it was, you know. Hopefully next week we get to see Crosshair again. and kind of catch up with the Empire, see what's going on there. Time will tell. Time will tell. One thing I did really like is the display of, the improvement of animation. The very first shots with Wrecker and Omega on whatever planet they were on, the junkyard, it really kind of gives you an idea of how far we've come in animation, where you can have, forced focus shots with the foreground being in focus and the background being out of focus. Because that was never really the case in the old style animation, like in Clone Wars and Rebels. It was all very kind of like everything was in focus, and so it didn't really give you that kind of perspective. For example, with my webcam, if I wanted to, I could blur more of the background to have me a bit more in focus to sort of increase the sharpness of quality on me, as the main figure in this shot. But I don't do that because it's too fiddly to get right. I just kind of leave everything as is. But to be able to do that in animation, it shows you how far they've come with it. So yeah, like I say, fun episode. Definitely not the best, but not the worst. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you for the next one.